I've basically spent the last week or so doing things which I'm gonna regret later in life, like sleeping and eating flapjacks and not doing any schoolwork. So I've got one day left of half term before I go back to college. So and I haven't done anything. So I'm gonna just do a podcast because one thing I have been doing recently and in general, to be fair, is absolutely consuming the fuck out of podcasts. I have listened to so many fucking podcasts. I was thinking about milk and Pepsi this morning. Like I was in the shower and I just kept thinking about milk and Pepsi. Like, would it actually taste good? Because like the reason that you see that like that meme of like milk and pep, what's it called? Is it called Pilk? Milk and Pepsi is because it's like sounds really gross, right? And I can imagine it would be, but like it's not like a biohazard. Like it's not gonna like actually make you ill if you just drink like a glass of milk and Pepsi. It'd probably be a bit nasty, but like, because I was also thinking about like, is everything which is like gross also like a potential biohazard? Like, is that why something is gross? Because you'd think so, right? Like, I don't know, snot is gross because it could make you ill, right? If it's like some infected snot or like poo, obviously. Um, but like milk and Pepsi or pineapple and pizza is like gross, but like you wouldn't get ill from it, or like not from consuming a reasonable amount. You might get ill from drinking like 2 liters of milk and Pepsi in one go. I don't know. But then you might from drinking 2 liters of like milk on its own, or it wouldn't give you like food poisoning. It might make you a bit of an upset stomach. If you drink like 2 liters of sugar water or some stuff with lots of aspartame in and artificial sweeteners, that's gonna give you an upset stomach. But yeah. Why is Pepsi and milk gross? It's because it's like one thing which is like really fatty. I feel like it would curdle. One thing which is like kind of fatty and like hearty, and one thing which is like an ice cold like beverage, like a Pepsi is like not. It's like refreshing. It's like not stodgy. I mean, it is. It's not fatty like milk is, but wouldn't it just be really tasty, right? Because like fat is tasty and milk has fat, and sugar is tasty, and I know lactose is also sugar, but like it doesn't taste sweet. Like Pepsi has lots of glucose or fructose, whatever the fuck it is. So like fat and sugar, it should taste really good, right? If you just on paper, it's like how pizza tastes really good because it's just like fat and carbs, which is sugar as a carb. Um, I don't know. Maybe if I ever do a sequel to this podcast, I should do it after having tried Pepsi Milk, Pilk, whatever it's called. Because I can imagine it being nice, or it could be an acquired taste, right? Like if you're, I refuse to believe that in a world, and I am a big fan of Marmite. I fucking love Marmite, right? But Marmite is like a real acquired taste, I think. In a world where people are capable of liking Marmite, and if you haven't eaten Marmite, it's literally like a dark brown, incredibly salty paste made from yeast extract. Like it doesn't. If you have it on its own, it's fucking horrible. You have to have it like really thinly on bread, and it's kind of like savory and salty. But like in a world where people are capable of liking Marmite, people would be capable of also liking Pepsi Milk. Like if your parents, you get back from school when you're like a little kid and your mum gives you a glass of Pepsi Milk and a slice of toast and Marmite, like surely you would acquire a taste for Pepsi Milk. Like it could just be a cultural thing, right? Like because it's not actually like, I mean, it's not good for you, but it's not like bad for you in the same way that drinking a glass of like piss would be. Um, I don't know. Maybe if I have kids, slash when I have kids, I'm gonna give them Pepsi Milk just to see what happens. Because will they acquire a taste for it? Like That's a real experiment. If you have young children, consider giving them Pepsi Milk. Actually, maybe you don't because sugary drinks are bad. You don't want to give your kids unhealthy food. Milk is apparently good though. Related note as well. Oh, I literally have not drunk cow's milk to my knowledge, in like I'm not like vegan or vegetarian as much as I probably should try doing that. But I haven't drunk cow's milk. I've only drunk oat milk for the last like year, probably more than a year, just because oat milk is so much better than cow's milk. Like it tastes, I think, better. Like, or and again, opinion, because I've met people who think it tastes, they don't like the taste as much. So, you know, different strokes, different folks. But as well as tasting better, you don't have to put it in the fridge. Like, you can leave it out of the fridge and it will be warm, which isn't always nice. But like, it won't like go bad. Like, you can leave it out of the fridge for like months and it's fine, as far as I know. And like it's not as gross as like milk, because milk came from a cow's tit. Like, I remember in science class in like year 8, at one time the teacher just told us that like milk is like basically loads of little droplets of fat dissolved in water, and that image just stuck with me. I mean, like, looking back, I suppose you could kind of break down any food to something that sounds gross like that. Like, many foods are like, oh, it's just lots of fat, blah blah blah, dissolved in blah blah blah, you know, or like meat is like literally the flesh of a dead animal. But like, just oat milk is like just less gross because it just comes from oats, right? Like, oats aren't that gross, they're just little seeds. And I don't know, I think the oat milk revolution, or at the very least the what's it called, the not milk, like rice milk and soy milk, whatever, revolution is afoot, I think, because it's just easier. You don't have to keep it in a fridge. Like, and milk shit, it just goes off after like a few days. And you need a whole fucking cow to make milk. Like, just and then like, therefore you have to, also the dairy industry is apparently really bad. Like, and therefore you have to like get the cow like pregnant, so you have to like get it to make milk. So you have to like it's just so much effort to just make something that you put on your cereal, you know? It's just like, what is milk normally apart from a condiment, right? Like, sometimes I will drink a glass of like straight oat milk. Sometimes. I wouldn't do that with milk though. But like, you know, most of the time milk is not the main event. For me at least. Like, you put it on cereal or like in hot chocolate or something, but like, it's just a bland kind of hearty substrate which you add, you know, what, drinking chocolate powder or like muesli or whatever to, you know. So the taste isn't really that important, so why have a whole fucking like it's like some made up thing, just like you have a fucking you know, tasty white this is gonna get taken out of context. A tasty white liquid which you put on your cereal / in your nighttime drink, whatever. Many uses for milk, I'm sure. Bathe in it. I don't fucking know. Like, you don't need a whole fucking mammal just to make this, you know, like condiment, when you could just get it from little oats. You know, apparently, is it Oatly had some controversy? What was it? Like, they donated to the Trump campaign, or they had some affiliation with the Trump campaign, I think, and everyone was like, "Don't buy Oatly, boycott Oatly." Like, and you know what? If I have a little mental scan to what kind of oat milk is in the fridge, it's Oatly. I'm sorry. Maybe what other brands are? Oatly make good oat milk, and their packages are like, is it like a thing? It's like a known thing about how like Oatly's packages. They have like a paragraph of like, "Hey buddy, thanks for buying our oat milk. You rock. We are super cool, and we can't say milk because that's illegal, because this stuff isn't milk." But they have like the milk, the I, one of the letters in milk, like blurred out, right? It's like M asterisk LK. That also sounds a bit weird out of context. It sounds like I'm talking about Martin Luther King. Why is it that you're not allowed to say milk on like non-milk products? What is the law, actually? It probably depends on the region. But, like, could you say milk? You're literally not allowed to just, like, say the word milk if it's, what, like a product which is, like, similar to milk or, like, a milk replacement? I guess the gimmick of this podcast is I'm just not doing any research on the things I'm saying. So I'm just making lots of factual errors. But like that's what I'm guessing, right? You're not allowed to say milk, maybe unless your product has milk in it. That seems like a bit of a weird thing, right? Because that means, I guess if it was like cereal, like a lot of cereal you would generally have with milk, but doesn't have milk in it. Some does. I think Alpen has milk powder in it. But if you're not allowed to say milk on a package of something which isn't milk, is that a bit? Because it might be advice, right? Like eat the Cheerios, or whatever, with milk. But then if you don't know that, I mean, some people eat loose cereal, but like who the fuck doesn't know that you're supposed to eat cereal with milk, right? Like, everyone knows that, right? Does anyone like? Another thing I'm interested to know: did anyone like find out at like a older than would be average age that you're supposed to have cereal with milk? Like in your family, it was just like a thing that you ate dry cereal, and then like or with water. To be fair, and then like at the age of like 11 or something, or like 15, you found out that you're like most people have it with milk. I don't know, just like. Or maybe the law for saying milk on a packet is like if it's something similar to milk, like oat milk or whatever, you're not allowed to say milk, because I guess then it's misleading because someone might think it was milk, but they're not, and then like I guess accidentally buy the milk, which is like misleading advertising. If it was like oat milk, someone might like absentmindedly pick it up, and then they would. I would like to think they would have their life changed as soon as they tasted oat milk, because it's fucking great. But I don't know. Maybe the fake milk companies could get into some legal trouble if they said milk. Like, it's just a bit of a weird law, right? Like, why don't you just have milk? Okay, this is kind of grammarian and linguistically prescriptivist, so which is everything I stand against, I'm honest, but maybe milk could just mean like the condiment, like just this kind of like sauce wherever you add to your cereal, and then like whether or not it's like oat milk or cow's milk or whatever isn't important, and then milk like from mammals is like cow milk or goat milk or chicken milk, whatever the fuck. Chicken milk is a great insult. Man, this podcast is fucking chicken milk. What is chicken milk? Like eggs, right? Egg-based milk. Egg-based milk? Could that be a thing? It's like eggnog. You can buy cartons of pure egg whites in Morrison's, actually, and it's got a lot of protein, because egg whites are basically just all protein. So, well, I've tried to listen to some podcasts in Spanish, and my Spanish is like not great. But what I've noticed is, firstly, I find it way easier to understand the least interesting thing first. I find it way easier to understand Mexican Spanish than any other dialect of Spanish for some reason. I don't know why. And secondly, it's so much easier for me to understand if it's like two people talking. Like some podcasts are just like monologues. Oh, fuck off, Alexa. So rude. You can't. She's like Voldemort. You can't say her name. She just lights up blue, I find it so much easier to understand podcasts where it's like two people talking to each other, if they're in a foreign language, rather than if it's like one person giving a monologue. And I wonder why that is. I guess if it's two people talking, you kind of get like the other like non-languagey cues, like the intonation and like the sort of like questions and all those things, which if it's like someone reading from a script, I guess you don't get as much. I wonder, is that a thing? Because I'm giving a monologue now, although it's not scripted. If English is your second language, do you just like tell me? Do you find it, or whatever? If you listen to podcasts in a second language, whatever it be, do you find it easier to understand if it's like a conversation or a monologue, or I don't know, scripted, unscripted. Because I wonder if that's like a thing, or if it's just me that finds it easier to understand. If it's a conversation. I mentioned like going to sleep to a podcast. I can't sleep to a Spanish podcast, which is interesting. Like, because I think understanding something in a second language is like, it just takes more effort. What's the book called? Thinking Fast and Slow. Where the author, whose name I can't remember, talks about like system 1 and system 2, and system 1 is like effortless thinking, like intuition kind of thing, and system 2 is like the part of your brain you use when you have to multiply like 17 times 48 in your head. And I think like understanding a second language takes a lot more system 2. Like it takes a lot of, you can do it, but it takes a lot of effort. And so like when you're going to sleep and you're like relaxing, you kind of just like stop, you know, being able to put in that amount of effort. Like I think it's easier for me to switch off my like understanding of Spanish than it is for English. I don't like, can you listen to what I'm saying now and like not understand if English is your first language? Like, because you can't listen to your first language and not know what it says, or I can't at least, and I think most people can't. If you can, actually, I'd say in the comments. I want to know that actually. So what would the word for that be? Is that like a documented thing? My internet's down at the moment, so that's my excuse for being too lazy to Google that. I don't know why I'm asking people to comment as well, because in true podcast fashion, you probably aren't just like sitting down and listening to this podcast. Hopefully you're doing something productive, right? Let me know in the comments what you're doing productively. If you're riding a bike down the A385, get your phone out right now and comment on this podcast on YouTube. Has to be on YouTube. I don't care if there's a fucking lorry trying to overtake you. Just do it. It's important. That's a joke. I don't know if I need to put a disclaimer. Please don't get your phone out if you're cycling down a main road. You know, that's another topic I could ramble on about. I often cycle down main roads, and I have been cycling like to and from school basically every day since I was in year 7, which is, well, if you're American, well, fuck, since I was 12 basically, since the beginning of middle school. And I have like basically never worn a helmet, and I have never fallen off in like a serious way for 7 years. This might be gambler's fallacy, but am my odds like stacking up? Am I due to crack my head open? Like one of my friend's parents, who are doctors, like warned me. They're like, if you should wear your bike helmet, otherwise if you could lose half your IQ if you fall off and like. So that's pretty sketchy. Like I trust what they're saying as well. Like I don't want to lose half my IQ and like have to have someone wipe my ass. Like, so now I'm gonna vow to wear a helmet. Like there's a slight inconvenience that I can't wear my over-ear headphones when I'm cycling, but I probably wouldn't think that was much of a trade-off. Like if I was in hospital with an IQ of 50 and someone a designated arse wiper, I would probably not be like worrying about how I wish I just listened to music on my Sony MX-4000, whatever the fuck they are. Like, I don't know. I remember my school had a thing called Bike Week. I don't know if that was like a general thing or if it was just like my school. We had a week where everyone like brought their bikes in, and you know, you do all like the bike games and go on bike roads and stuff. It was really good. But I remember they were like super. You have to wear your helmet. And I mean, I guess fair enough because they got to pay some insurance money because they're like a school. I don't know how it works. But I remember one teacher went around like with this egg, like went around all the classes and like show people they crack this egg on a plate And he's like, "This is your skull if you don't wear a helmet." He didn't say. I was gonna say don't wear a fucking helmet, but he probably didn't swear because we were like 8 years old. And that image stuck in my head, which is good. I mean, 8-year-olds are impressionable, so that's probably why. But yeah, like I don't know why I haven't worn my helmet. Like, it's a pretty simple thing, and I need to. I need to protect myself from getting brain damage. Relatedly, I think bikes are like a very, very ingenious invention. Like, I think they're definitely, they got to be up there, right, as one of humanity's best inventions. Not for like technical ingenuity or like technical, you know, what's the word? They don't have like nanotechnology or like all any of these like incredibly difficult to pull off things. It's just like a frame with some wheels and a chain. But they're just so good because they don't like cause any pollution that I know of. I'm sure manufacturing them causes some pollution, but they don't take any fuel. They're human powered, so like they're exercise. They're good for you to ride them. They make you go like so much faster than you can on foot. And what was my third thing? They don't cause any pollution. They're exercise and they make you go a lot faster. That's my, and they're really simple. It's just so good. Like bikes are such a good invention, and also it's kind of cool because of like the gyroscopic thing of the wheels, right? Like there's like a reason they balance, which is to do with the wheels acting like gyroscopes. I'm not actually sure, but it's something like that, right? Which is why bikes fall over if you stop, and you can like get a bike to ride itself a little bit. There's something to do with like the way the front wheel, the fork of the front wheel is like slightly bent backwards. I think that has something to do with the balance, right? Right, okay. Let's what's another funny topic I could talk about? Let's do some takes on podcasts which I listen to, which might be a bit alienating actually now I think about it, because people, like, it's pretty unlikely that you listen to all the same podcasts that I listen to, right? So at least one of these, or probably several, likely all, will be you'd be like, I just don't give a shit. I don't listen to that. Hello Internet was a really good podcast. Brady Harron and CGP Grey. That was like when I first. I remember I was in like maths class in like year 10, I think. I remember that I was just like super just like shit in maths class. And they just let me like sit on the computer and watch Khan Academy videos for like every lesson. I got a 4, which is like a C. I passed my maths GCSE. But I remember Sal Khan is fucking good as well. He just the whole time I would just have to just watch Sal Khan, like, and we have the number 2, and if we look at this, you have no emotion. I used to be able to do a much better Sal Khan impression than I can now, but one day I was like, I'm going to listen to a podcast. I had never listened really to a podcast before. I was like 15, and I was like, okay, what's one I can think of off the top of my head? And for some reason, Hello Internet was one that I had heard of before, so I searched it up, and I just like put on some episode. I think it was the episode where they like read out people's limericks, like viewer submitted limericks, and it was just instantly like just love at first sight, that podcast. I don't know why. I think it was just because there was like so little competition in my head. It was, and like for like 3 years or so, I just only listened to Hello Internet. It was kind of weird actually. Like I've probably listened to there's like 136 episodes of.
Sorry.
Oh my fucking.
Set the volume between 0 and 10.
Ugh, fucking robot. You just can't have a monologue. You just can't. Why is it these Amazon robots? You can't even just talk to yourself in your own house for extended periods of time without the little blue light lighting up. Anyway, like I've probably listened to every episode of Hello Internet like, I'd say 4 times over. Probably like more. because it was literally the only podcast I listened to for years. It's so good. It's just like it's really dry though. It's just like Brady Harron from Numberphile and CGP Grey just talking about like random topics and like it. I think it's kind of the later episodes are like they just talk about what they talked about in the last episode, so it's like kind of super parochial. Like one common thing is like they rant about how in Starbucks you don't get these things called hot stoppers, which are like little plastic sticks you put in the in a takeaway coffee mug, and like it's like you put it in the hole that you sip through to stop your coffee splashing out, and they're plastic, and I think the UK like banned them at some point, or there's some, it's kind of like single-use plastic, so there's some law against them. But they were like, there was this whole thing, and then they got their own custom Hello Internet hot stoppers made, and then they still plant them in locations, and they tweet like some picture of roughly where they left them, and I guess you go find them. I don't know. I like how like parochial the podcast is. I learned the word parochial the other day, and now it's like one of my favorite words. What does parochial mean actually? Like to do with one is like very specific, right? Or like to do with one very specific topic. I think. Contrived, is that a synonym? I don't know. Don't fact check me, but I don't know. It's just good to have some like noise that you can just listen to, where it's just like two, and I'm of two dudes talking is the genre they described it as. I literally think as well that Brady and Gray like hate each other, like they just definitely secretly hate each other. You can tell. And it's also quite funny because Brady started a different podcast with his mate Tim, and which is also kind of weird because they called Hello Internet called their listeners Tims, because there was a joke in like episode 6 or something where they say, what is it? They're like, wouldn't it be weird if someone was getting on a plane right now, Tim, like referring to some viewer called Tim, and then there was a viewer who actually was getting on a plane when he was listening to it, and he was called Tom. So I think that's how the name for Tim came. And then Brady started a podcast called The Unmade Podcast with his friend Tim, who like is just coincidentally called Tim. And before that, CGP Grey also started a podcast with, what is he called, Mike Hurley. And that podcast called Cortex, and it's about like productivity. And it's just funny because like Cortex is just like such a fucking CGP Grey podcast, because they just talk about like his spreadsheets and like all it. I haven't listened to that much Cortex actually, so take this opinion with a grain of salt. But they just talk about like how I've got my iPad, and I've got I want to replace everything with my iPad. Like he just fucking he's got like 16 fucking iPads, and it's like the other dude Mike is just like whoa, that's so productive. You have like an iPad for every room. Yeah, why shouldn't I have an iPad for every room, Mike? It's ridiculous not to. One is none. Two is one. Fucking name. Like CGP Grey is just like such a character. I fucking love CGP Grey. And then Brady's podcast, like the point is they just talk about like they just like spitball ideas for podcasts, for other podcasts. But then it's kind of got its own like in jokes and stuff over time. Like they mention KFC a lot. Like you would think almost that it's like sponsored by KFC based on how much they talk about it, but it's not, weirdly. There was also a thing, one of the first episodes they did, one of the first ideas they suggested, I should say, was for like an ologies podcast where you like talk about different, like, I don't know, philanthropology, etymology, hopefully not astrology. And the thing is, that actually is a podcast. I'm not sure if it started before or after they mentioned it. There's Ali Ward's Ologies podcast. It's also quite an interesting podcast where she interviews different ologists. So hang on, when did The Unmade started in 2017, I think, and I think the Ologies podcast started in 2018. That's off the top of my head though, so that might be wrong, but I don't know. To be fair, I mean, the Ologies idea is like a very good idea. So it's like, it's good that someone either took the Unmade podcast idea and ran with it, or that it was like independently thought of, which is pretty possible because I think it's one of those ideas which is like kind of, it's like hidden in plain sight. Like it's a very like there's lots of good ideas which are like often thought of independently because they're just like kind of obvious and good. Like bows and arrows. Have bows and arrows been thought of independently multiple times? Like, are bows and arrows good? I mean, you kill someone with a bow and arrow, so I guess not. Although, okay, you know what? A podcast that I'm sure everyone has listened to, the Joe Rogan Experience. I had a month or so, like a year ago, where I just like I had a real Joe Rogan moment. I had like a Joe Rogan phase where I just listened to lots of the Joe Rogan Experience, and I was like, whoa, dude, he's so fucking deep, bro. He talks about weed. He talks about fucking monkeys, bro. We're just fucking monkeys, man. Isn't that fucking crazy? And then I would probably talk about how I've done DMT. Joe Rogan is like, and this was before he like went to Spotify and he started saying lots of very spicy COVID takes. So I remember I listened to the ones with Elon Musk on, and I was also going through a bit of an Elon Musk phase. I was like, Elon Musk is so he's the fucking smartest man alive. He's gonna save us. He's gonna get us to Mars. He's gonna get us to fucking Mars. My God, I can't believe it, man, bro. Elon Musk's such a fucking meme lord. I can't believe he posted a Doge. I can't believe he's such a fucking meme lord, bro. He posted Doges on Twitter. He's epic. I feel like Joe Rogan is just like not as deep as people think he is, right? Or like the same with Elon Musk, to be fair. The thing with Joe Rogan is it is just quite funny how there's like all the regular talking points of like elk meat and whatever the fuck he talks about jiu-jitsu. Like he's like not, but I don't know if he's like that. I think he's a smart guy, I think, but I don't think he's like that as well informed or as like deep or insightful as people give him credit for, and then it kind of like people like take him like way more seriously than he should be. Elon Musk is like a very, very wealthy man, so I don't know if that means you should take him more seriously, but I feel like people think that Elon Musk is like really different to like all the other billionaires, or like he's like he's one of us, he's like some meme man. But I don't know. I mean, he's and I'm realizing now that I'm kind of uninformed. So, but from what I gather, he's pretty much just like another billionaire, and he does that thing like the digging the tunnel underneath LA, like, and what is it? It's like a taxi service with Teslas under LA, right? But just build a fucking train, Elon. We don't need cars. We need trains. We need public transport, is what I think. Maybe there's something Elon knows which I don't. Like, I don't know. It's definitely likely. I'm sure Elon Musk knows many things which I don't, because he's like 30 years older than me. So yeah, but I don't know. Again, I don't think he's like as much as he's cracked up to be, but he also has like a lot more wealth than Joe Rogan. But the Joe Rogan has quite a lot of influence though. Like, people take his opinions pretty seriously, which is like, I think often kind of bad, like I said, because he's not like an authority on any of the subjects, which, to be fair, neither am I. In fact, I'm probably less of an authority. So please don't take my opinions super seriously. I mean, why would you, right? I only have like 200 something subscribers. Maybe that means you take my opinions like even more seriously. Like, if someone has like 0 subscribers, then what if there must be someone out there? Is there someone out there who has like all the right opinions just by guessing? Or like, because there's some things, right, where you could say that an opinion, like, some opinions are like subjective, or like, you know, it doesn't matter, like what's your favorite film or something. But there's like some opinions are like, you don't like, it's like wrong to have one opinion. Like if you're based on it, like, was Hitler good? Like you don't want to think that Hitler was good. That's like a wrong opinion. If what the fuck does an opinion actually mean? Is there a difference between like an opinion which doesn't have like a moral value, like you know, what kind of, whether pineapple goes on pizza or something? Clickbait. I've been thinking about clickbait basically. Like, there's different kinds of clickbait, and I don't think clickbait is like bad most of the time. And obviously you've got it's like the art of like titling your video something that's enticing to click on, right? Something interesting that, you know, grabs people's attention. The thing is, right, and I have a few thoughts on this topic, when every like title is clickbait, like they all stop being clickbait in a way, like, because when every video title is like all caps, like I can't believe this happened, you know, or like some, like, then, and it has like a neon thumbnail with like some person's face screaming, they just all stop being clickbait, because you're just like, oh, it's just a fuck, like, you just know that what is behind that title and thumbnail is like probably not to do with the title and thumbnail that much. And if it's like a 14-minute video which is like, you won't believe it, and it's like all caps, and you're like, I'm not gonna fucking click that. Just like, tell me what the fucking video is about. Like, just like, and one person who does clickbait really well, I hesitate to even call it clickbait, to be honest, but Tom Scott does it really well. Like, what's some of his video titles? It's like the hill that refuses to be a hill. That was the one that was made by GPT-3. But you know, it's in the vein of his titles. But his titles are like, you can kind of, they're interesting, like, and you kind of want to find out more. But also it like gives you enough information. It doesn't give you like all the information, but it gives you enough to make you interested and like to tell you what the video is about. Which is just, that's good. I think that's the right way to do it. He's good at clickbait though, Tom Scott. But who is it? One person who is just such fucking annoying clickbait, and he is not by any means the only example of this. He's not even a YouTuber I watch, to be honest, but Russell Brand is just one example that keeps showing up in my recommended. Like, and he has these super vague titles now, which is just like, not all caps at least, but they're just like, you won't believe it, it's happening, it's the beginning. Like, oh my fucking god, Russell, for fuck's sake, like, just give them, I haven't even watched any of these videos, but like, like, you can title it something that's like clickbaity, but like, at least tell me what the fucking video is about, you know? Like it's like a 20-minute video, and you just divulge no information, like, what the fuck is the video about, you know? Just please say it. Like, I'm not clicking a video which is just like vague, like, this is what happened. Just say something about the fucking what's in the video. You can make it clickbaity, but I don't know. There's also another interesting point in this topic is like really old College Humor videos, like, and this, again, not just College Humor, this applies to like, I'm sure, many older YouTube videos. The College Humor series Hardly Working, which was very funny in like 2008, they have like 300 of these little kind of, they're like little kind of office sketches, you know, little comedy sketches, and all the thumbnails are like just they're not custom, they're just like you know, a screen grab from the video, just like automatic, and all the titles are just like Hardly Working, and then just like the titles are also really vague, but like Hardly Working, I don't know, pills, I don't know if that's one, you know, Hardly Working keyboard, Hardly Working mouse, Hardly Working water bottle. I'm just looking at objects which are around me, but you get the idea. Like, they don't really tell you much about the video, but I kind of like that, because you don't really know what you're gonna get, like, with the video, which is so, I don't know if I like that or not, but I think the reason that those titles are so vague is because it was like before clickbait was such a thing, or before YouTubers were like, you know, really thinking about how to like optimize their titles and thumbnails and stuff. There's a thing where YouTubers say that they try and like A/B test titles, right? Like Veritasium did a video, did he? About how he often changes his titles and thumbnails, so just like to see which one is more successful. And I've heard YouTubers talking about like how they wish they could A/B test with like 2 titles and 2 thumbnails, which is interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that the vague like Russell Brand titles, like I can't believe this happened, and like the all caps and the neon thumbnails must help with the click through rate. Is it called click through rate? With how many people click on the videos, the views. But it is just annoying when you just divulge no information, you know? Like, is there an opposite thing where, like, clickbait gives way too much information? There must be. It just isn't springing to mind right now. Like, what's it like the classic, like, prank in the hood gone sexual, gone wild, gone, 2015, or whatever. Like, I guess that was too much information, but those prank videos didn't always go sexual or wild, did they? It was more like, or if they did, it was like actors, right? Like, we need some words to this. Maybe vague bait. Hang on, is this? Did I need to watch that Veritasium video because I feel like he might have spoken about this in the video. Actually, now I think about it. But yeah, I swear to God there was like, this was what he spoke about. Well, if I'm wrong, then I'm gonna have lots of egg on my face for being wrong. I've been going for an hour now, so I'm gonna go and watch that Veritasium video. I do wonder, right, if you think like you have an idea which has been in like. You have an idea, like, I don't know, vague clickbait and specific clickbait, which is like the same idea which was in a thing that you saw like months ago, which is when I watched that video. Does everything you ever watch like stick in your head and it's like unconscious, and then like at some point it kind of bubbles up, and then like did I come up with that idea like just now by myself, like vague bait? Or was it like in my unconscious and it like just bubbled up and I thought it was my own idea, but actually it wasn't. It was Veritasium's and it was like in my mind. It's possible that Veritasium didn't make a video on that topic. I'm just like making up false memories in my head, which would also be an interesting thing. Okay, I need to sign off. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening. Let me know. I do want to know what people are like doing while they're listening to the podcast. Like, hopefully not cycling down the main road. So yeah, in the end, wear your bike helmet.